Hello, everybody, and welcome into the show here this evening. Little special broadcast. We'll probably have more of these going forward as we enter winter storm season around the Midwest. Amazing how quiet it's been, and now we're turning active across much of the eastern half of the country and the Great Lakes as this cold air just continues to do its thing. That's the first ingredient you need for winter storms is cold air, and boy, do we have it, not just today, not just the next week, but really over the next 10, 15 days or so. This cold air not going anywhere anytime soon. So we have a little bit of a bonus broadcast here tonight. Want to get you up to speed on the snow we've got ongoing outside right now. And then we'll fast forward to the weekend. A lot of people with some plans as we get into the weekend. A lot of you just settling down after a holiday season. But weekend's always the time for some activity, especially with big travel days coming up this weekend as people heading back home from what was a long holiday break. So nice to meet you, everybody. I'm meteorologist Matt Wintz here for Region Weather. Quickly, I just want to brush on our sponsors. They keep everything for free. They're awesome. And I would stick my name behind any one of these businesses, which are all local to Northwest Indiana. FBIbuildings.com, Pole Barn Construction. If you need it or you need one renovated, they're the place to go. FBIbuildings.com. Meals on Wheels, Northwest Indiana. Great organization. They're actually looking for more volunteers to help drive and deliver meals. So if you if that's something you want to do, I can find the number here. I wasn't prepared to give it. Just go to their website for more information. I know Faith is the one to contact. We've given her number out in all the past broadcasts. Again, this is a bonus broadcast for them. PSA, that's our public service adjusters. If you have any insurance claims that you have on your property, don't go to your insurance agency first. Go to PSA. They will come real quick. They'll take pictures. They'll document everything. They'll submit everything to your insurance company, and they'll handle all the back and forth that you don't have to worry about. And they'll handle everything and get you more money than you typically get. PublicServiceAdjusting.com. TigerPlumbing.net. Now is the time of year that we have water main breaks and we have broken pipes in your house due to freezing pipes and all that good stuff that comes with cold weather. So please take care of your pipes. You want to make sure you leave faucets dripping, leave the cabinets open. Even in this cold weather, when you have temperatures in the 20s, but especially once we get that polar air mass next week, you want to make sure you're taking care of your pipes because that is a big mess to clean up. TigerPlumbing.net. If you need any help around that or any plumbing needs, they'll certainly take care of you. Minogue.life. Michael Minogue is our expert in the world of life insurance, Medicare, Medicaid. A lot of changes just took effect with some of your plans you may not be aware of, and you may have a lot of benefits with your plans that you're not aware of. He would be happy to sit down with you one-on-one or as a couple, whatever it happens to be, to go over what benefits you have that maybe you're not using. Maybe you're paying too much for life insurance. You need to save an extra $1 or so. He'll help you out. Minogue.life is the website to go to there. Kate Cusack of Ruoff Mortgage. She's our home loan girl here in Northwest Indiana. If you're looking to refinance or you're looking to purchase maybe a dream home or your new home, it's that time of year. There's not a lot of bites on house sales, so you can get what you want if something's for sale. And also, she can find ways to help you kind of work with your budget a little bit differently. They have a lot of products to tap into the equity in your house. Maybe you've got to pay off some Christmas bills. She certainly has some options for you. It's Kate Cusack, Home Loan Girl on Facebook. Finally, last but not least, Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. They've been serving Northwest Indiana for decades right there on US 30. They've got a lot of four-wheel drives on the lot ready to go, including the brand new Jeeps. They look good. Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. All right, let's say hi to our early birds. Ethan, you're on board first there, buddy. New Year's Eve was wonderful. It was nice to have some time off last week and a half or so. I was back at it this morning. I've got to do the morning show again tomorrow morning so that I'm fresh right now, but boy, that sleep deficit really starts to add up. But it is really good to be back at work, especially with Active Pattern coming up. Darlene's with us tonight. Is Ladybug 12 is with us as well. Happy New Year to you. Rhonda, hello. Michelle's with us. Happy New Year. Sherry's with us. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Deb. Teresa says, hey, April. Talking to April on there. Hi, Teresa. Sage Yourself is with us tonight. Jill, of course. Anytime there's active weather coming our way, this is our thing. And Honor Coleman's with us. Annoyed, hopefully he's going to be very good. I completely understand that. You're in Illinois. I got it, Honor. And Mindy's with us as well. And that's interesting. So Sean says, hey, Matt, on WGN, they said nobody would know what the weekend storm would look like until later on Friday. Now, Sean, I'm not too sure about that. We've got a pretty good handle on what this thing's going to do. Specifics down to the mile is something that gets sorted out over the next couple days. I would say that, Sean, if we didn't have consensus in the models, but we've got pretty good consensus in the models of where this thing's going, who's going to get the most snow, who's not. Things can certainly change next day or so. To WGN's point, we'll have a better idea tomorrow, right? We can start to lock in on things, but I feel pretty confident where this thing's going tonight. All right, so it's interesting that they said that, but I actually don't agree with that. And then Penny brings up a good point. She says 77 days till spring. Kate is doing her snow dance. Oh, Kate, I know you like snow. I'm telling you, February gets here, we're going to be sick of this stuff. Okay, let's dive into the forecast. We've got snow outside right now. It's light. It just drives me. I don't even know why I don't even subscribe to these places, but Facebook puts weather websites, and there's a ton of them. There's a ton of kids. There's a ton of young adults that are doing meteorology from their basement, and that's fine. It's totally fine. I love the science. I love that other people are getting involved. And some of them have really studied and done their stuff. Despite the fact they're not meteorologists, they do a great job. They really do. But there's some out there that just want clicks, and it drives me nuts because these things get like 500,000 shares and likes and interactive stuff. And it's stuff to hype it up, and it drives me nuts. And I saw earlier this week, once this system started to slide into Indiana that we're dealing with right now, I saw a lot of places, not all of them, but a lot of places started to put out hype around this, like snow on the way, tune into my broadcast, blah, blah, blah. Here's, what could happen. And they've got like bright pink colors on Northwest Indiana. Did you hear much from us other than what we talked about in the broadcast? This is not a big deal tonight, and it never was a big deal tonight. This is a weak Clipper system. It's January. It snows around here, and it's cold, and this system isn't doing anything, all right? It's snowing outside, yes. We don't have any road problems out there. Some of the sidewalks and decks and porches and stuff that are unsalted are getting a little snow on it, but again, it's January. It's nothing you can't handle, okay? This system will be out of here probably another 6 or 7 hours before the snow completely clears. It's already on its way out right now. But you can see as we go through time, the system that we have right now is heading on out. There are a couple pockets of some moderate snow mixed in. There are also pockets of some drier air where there's no snow falling. So we'll continue to see kind of on and off snow here over the next couple hours. I am not anticipating, for those that have to work tomorrow morning, which I know is probably half of you, a lot of you, going back to work on Monday. I know kids going back to school on Monday too. So a lot of you day off tomorrow, but those that do have to commute tomorrow morning, I am not anticipating problems on the roads. Okay. This should be taken care of. If everything stays salted, we're fine. Temperatures are going to start to drop though. We're heading back into the 20s tonight, and we'll stay in the 20s tomorrow. So that would support the idea that we do need salt on parking lots, stuff like that. All right. I know we've got a lot of snowplow folks out there as well. Okay. It does need to be salted, but again, not a big deal tomorrow morning. What I am going to watch for tomorrow morning though, is we are going to develop some lake effect. And this system, as it goes by, is going to kind of churn with the low, and it's going to reignite. It's going to kind of change the wind flow over the Great Lakes. And so as a result, we're going to see some lake effect develop and kind of try to move into Northwest Indiana tomorrow as we get into the daytime. So here's what I mean. System goes by, and this is usually what happens when you get a realignment of the winds and you have plenty of moisture and cold air to work with, which we have tomorrow. You get the squall line of snow that develops. It kind of kicks everything off with the lake effect, and that's going to develop later on tomorrow morning. We likely see a line of snow squalls. There may be snow squall warnings with this as well, stretching from coming off Lake Erie into Northeast Ohio. It should be kind of like a line of thunderstorms that stretches back into Western Ohio, and this will stretch into areas of Southwest Lower Michigan. As that line kind of heads south, you can see it here. This is our squall line. The model's picking up pretty nicely on that. That'll put down a quick 1/2 inch to 1 inch of snow. It'll cover everything in white. It'll be almost like a blizzard when it's going through. It won't last long enough. And it'll last, maybe 10 to 20 minutes or so of some really good snow. But again, it's going to come down really heavy where that falls. And I do expect it to stay just east of the region as we go throughout the latter half of the morning tomorrow. But I just give you that heads up because if you're traveling east on the toll road, perhaps 94 into Southwest Lower Michigan, there's going to be a line of heavy snow that develops later in the morning, and it sinks south before it starts to fade. What that will do is it'll kick off lake effect snow. You can see once that goes by, we've got some really good banding, really strong fetch, and really good moisture across the Great Lakes with cold air aloft. we should get some real decent bands coming off of Lake Michigan. Do these get into the LaPorte County area? I do think they will brush the county. So I think the heaviest snow will be out towards South Bend, even out towards the Angola area, and Fort Wayne, just north of Fort Wayne, may get some snow. That's where the band is going to be with that northwest fetch. But I do think with that cold air aloft and kind of some ignition of the atmosphere, I think we'll have snow showers in LaPorte County tomorrow during the day. Not a huge deal, all right? But again, that's what I'm seeing weather-wise, and it could be impactful, especially as you're heading out towards the east. Lake snows continue. Don't mind the pink on there. And then as we go into tomorrow night, lake effect will start to wind down, and then it'll really wind down on Saturday out in the snow belt. Again, this is mainly east, out towards South Bend, southwest lower Michigan. But it winds down on Saturday because we've got this system coming in. And this is a system that I want to spend a little bit of time on here this evening so you can start to plan ahead in terms of what's going on. So this is not going to be the biggest snowstorm that's ever happened across portions of the Midwest, but this is going to be a good one. And we've got really two big components we need to watch with this. There's going to be a strip of heavy snow just to the north of where that low pressure is, a good 40 to 50 miles, actually, because we'll have some mixing in between. But there's going to be a strip of heavy snow with this that could put down 10 to 20 inches of snow. All right. And there are some likelihood that some of this is going to get in Indiana, especially downstate, Indianapolis, down towards the south, Evansville may be in play with this. However, there's also going to be a large area of ice within this, which is you just don't mess around with ice. And what that is going to entail is temperatures at the surface for a lot of folks are going to be at or below freezing. So let's say it's 30 degrees on the surface. That's your deck, your sidewalk, your driveway, the roads, trees, all that stuff, right? Temperature will be at 30 for all those locations. You have a ton of precip coming in with this. And there's going to be a nose of warm air aloft up in the atmosphere. So there'll be warm air slivering in with this system up in the atmosphere. So that will melt the snow into raindrops. And then those raindrops won't have enough time to refreeze here at the surface until they actually hit surfaces. And that's what freezing rain is. You get the raindrop to fall, it's all liquid. But once it hits that surface that's below freezing, it turns to ice. And we're expecting a lot of that. There's going to be a lot of ice with this system. And that will be south of where that heavy snow is, closest to that low pressure. All right, so latest track I'm going to take you through. So I'm going to show you all the models. These are all the 18Z runs. So this is fresh information. And this agrees a lot with the 12Z runs. But here comes the system here. This is Saturday night. This is now Sunday morning. Area of low pressure and a strong one at that will be forming near Oklahoma. All right. Out ahead of that, here's your ice. Okay. This is where your heavy ice accumulation is. Just a mess. I would avoid travel. And a lot of people are traveling. I get it. I don't think a lot of us are traveling from Missouri or Tennessee. I know a lot of us, a lot of people in region weather are typically go to Florida, or they're on the East Coast somewhere, or in areas around the Midwest. Okay. So that being said, Sunday travel down towards Missouri, St. Louis, even Cape Girardeau, down towards, let's say, Bowling Green area and Kentucky are going to encounter some serious ice. Here's where that strip of heavy snow is. This is a sweet spot where you get this dark banding with the storm system close to that low. This is now Sunday midday. This is now Sunday afternoon. And notice the low, which that track of that low is crucial, but that low looks to stay down just north of the Memphis area, somewhere around the Tennessee and Kentucky border, okay? If that low stays there, which is good modeling showing that, yeah, that's somewhere, that's pretty much where it's going to be, then the heaviest snow is going to miss us down to the south, all right? Indianapolis would be in the heavy snow band, and then getting south of town along 65 would be impacted. For us here in the region, there's going to be a sharp cutoff between where there's snow and no snow with this. I do think we get some snow shower activity. Newton, Jasper, even Stark counties, you stand the best chance at here in the region getting some snow from this, all right? It doesn't look to be a huge snow, but we could get a couple inches out of this in those counties. If this thing shifts north, though, over the next day or so, which it could, to Sean's point earlier, he was talking about WGN saying we have no idea where this thing's going to go until Friday. Well, that's not the case. We've got good consensus where it's going to end up, but we can still see a slight jog, and even a jog of 20 miles or so can change how things, behave here in terms of snowfall. But here locally, I'm expecting just some, we'll be on the northern tip of that snow in our southern counties. All right. So Lake Porter, LaPorte counties, I don't see much from this right now in terms of this big winter storm that's tracking across the eastern half of the country. Okay. However, you're not going to not get snow. I don't know if that works out with a double negative. I shouldn't have said that. There's still snow in the forecast for you. And the problem that I see for us here in the region is going to be Sunday night into Monday. I see lake effect snow developing with this, and that could be briefly heavy. All right. So I'll show you that as we go through time. Here's Sunday evening. This is Sunday night. Notice the lake effects getting wrapped into this. Still snowing downstate. System starting to orient and kind of wrap up a little bit. Heavier snows across Ohio, areas of southern Pennsylvania. But for us, we'd have snow showers around here Sunday evening into Sunday night. And then we start to tap into some lake effect. And with cold air coming in, we could get some briefly heavy lake effect to target areas that really haven't had lake effect snow. This could get into Chicago area briefly, but I'm mainly thinking like Lake County, even Porter County, down towards Newton and Jasper counties. We may have a lake effect snow band with that northeast wind Sunday night into Monday that would be producing some decent snow for you in those locations. That band, as this low kind of pulls away, as the winds start to shift a little bit with that low heading on out, that band of snow would likely be in Lake and Porter County and kind of shift into Porter and LaPorte County as we go throughout the day Monday. And then eventually you can see how it kind of winds down. But that's not before we get another shot of cold air coming across the lakes as we get a renewed Arctic blast in here. This is the one that brings the colder air next week. And that would kickstart more lake effect snow. And with a northerly wind later next week, we may be bringing in more lake effect snow to Lake Porter and LaPorte counties. So this is really the first setup that I've seen all late fall into winter that we've had an actual lake effect setup that targets Lake and Porter counties. All right. I know you're usually missing out. LaPorte's getting it all, or Berrien County, Michigan, or out towards South Bend. But this one looks to actually bring us in play at times. It's not going to be totally consistent the whole time over the course of next week. But that lake effect snow is something we're going to obviously be needing to keep a close eye on as we go into next week. Okay. I want to show you a couple things, and then we'll talk potential totals out of this. So here, this is Sunday night where the position of the low is. I'm going to switch models for the exact same time. So notice the low is just to the west of Memphis, all right? And that heavy snow is downstate with ice down towards Evansville. I'm going to switch to the GFS. This is what the GFS model shows pretty much for the same time. Low pressure just to the west of Memphis. GFS is just ever so slightly down to the south, but they've got ever so slightly more moisture with it. So you really don't notice a difference. But the GFS does have this system sliding down mainly down to our south. It does get a little bit more snow in here on the back side of it. And again, I'm not ruling out snow for us, but as of right now, the heaviest stuff will stay in central Indiana. All right. But it's close. It's really close to us. Newton and Jasper County will likely end up with more than Lake Porter and LaPorte counties from the system. And then we add lake effect, and that kind of changes things. All right. So there's GFS there. And then let me switch to my favorite. I say that with sarcasm, but sometimes I like it. This is the Canadian model. Same idea. Low pressure down towards Memphis, just slightly further north. But you notice the Canadian does kind of what the GFS does. Instead of keeping a narrow band of snow kind of tacked to this low pressure with the system as the Euro does, the GFS and the Canadian have kind of more of a blob on the back side of this as it taps into lake moisture as the system's going through. So that does bring heavier totals into areas like Illinois and Northwest Indiana here as that system kind of curls through. So we'll see what the makings are of the storm system as it develops. It's just now heading into the western U.S., so we're getting a good model read in terms of what this looks like. But over the next couple of days, that track is crucial, and that's what I mean by that. It's not lazy forecasting when you hear that. If that track goes 20 miles to the north, that heavy snow band also goes 20 miles to the north. So something we need to keep an eye on. But for now, what I would plan on is, you know, if that lake effect gets going as well, which we'll talk about. I know the kids are going back to school on Monday, and you're getting back into your routine on Monday. Well, we may have some disruptions around here depending on how that lake effect develops and how far north this system goes. All right. There's a chance that we may be dealing with no school on Monday if this system progresses the way it does with that lake effect kind of thrown in. Okay. So just that's all you need to know right now. Make sure you're staying tuned to the latest forecast in terms of where this track goes. We'll keep you updated over the next couple of days. Let's talk amounts now. And then I want to briefly touch on long-term pattern because there's some really good signals for how the rest of the month goes. And then we'll answer your questions, and then we'll go from there. All right. I'll get you guys out of your way here on this Thursday evening. Okay. Let's talk totals. I'm going to zoom in real quick. These are potential totals still. Okay. We do not talk in terms of like this is exactly how much is going to fall because it's still too soon to determine that. But to my point earlier that Sean brought up, we can get a good range now. We kind of base some of our forecasting off of that in terms of the modeling. So let's get to it. Here are the latest totals on this is the 12Z. That's interesting. I don't have the 18Z with that. But here we go. So here's our storm system. This is the GEM model, the Canadian model. It's got a widespread 6 to 10 down towards Indianapolis. Lafayette's in there too. And then off towards the north here, Northwest Indiana, we get probably 2 to 3. More like 1 to 2, 2 to 3 from the system itself, mainly in our southern counties. And then you see lake effect starts to pile in a little bit more as we go into Tuesday. And that could bring that higher total into areas. This is targeting Porter County, okay? This is not the model I trust best, so let's go to the ones that we do. This is GFS. I don't trust this too much either, but it's, again, a range that we get. Here comes the system right there. Once that moves through, you can see general 1 to 2 for us, general 2 to 4, maybe 5 in areas of Newton and Jasper County, closer to that low. And then once you get in the center half of the Hoosier State, we're talking, says the GFS, anywhere from 8 to 16 inches with a couple 20-inch totals possible in Illinois. We'll see if that happens. GFS is moisture loaded with this, which I could certainly see. And then our last check here is going to be the Euro model. This is usually the one I trust best in winter storms until we get to the high-res stuff a day or so out. But this one brings 1 to 2 into areas of Lake Porter and LaPorte counties, and then 2 to 4 in Newton and Jasper counties. All right. That's from the system itself. And then we add lake effect to that. And the lake effect says the Euro they're not too impressed with it. Anywhere from an additional 1 to 3 of lake effect. I would go heavier on the lake effect potential, and I would stay kind of the same with the general 1 to 3, 2 to 5 in our southern counties from this on Sunday. Okay. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now in terms of the latest modeling with how heavy the snow is going to be. In terms of travel, though, just keep that in mind. I mean, there's going to be a large strip of 5 to 12, maybe 15 plus inches of snow stretching from Missouri into Illinois, Indiana, back over into Ohio. This is going to be a good snow for all those folks. And then the last thing I want to show you here is the ice, because this ice storm is going to be legit down in these pink shaded areas here as you get downstate, the Evansville area down towards Lexington and Louisville, going to pick up some good ice from this. And there's no such thing as good ice. It's just going to be nasty with this as that continues to head off towards the east. All right, wind isn't going to be too much of an issue with this. It is going to get gusty around here, but I don't see it getting too out of control for us here locally. This is Sunday afternoon. These are your gusts. All right, and you can see we're talking 20 to 30 at best. And especially as you get close to that lakeshore, that's where the winds will start to pick up. As the system kind of turns around with that lake effect, this is all lake effect. This is not system. We'll have that wind coming off the lake pretty strong. We'll have big waves on Lake Michigan. Could get some 30-mile-per-hour gusts Monday with some of those snow squalls. So, again, I think the most impactful time for the region here locally is going to be with that lake effect. But we have to keep a close eye on the system because it's only a county away. It's a county line away. All right. So it is going to be close, and a track change would change everything. But right now, I'm thinking maybe 1 to 2, maybe 3 in our northern counties at best from the system as it heads by. And we're looking at like 2 to 5 in Newton and Jasper counties right now. Okay, that's from the system. We had lake effect on top of that. And I'm not going to talk amounts of lake effect. It's a little too soon. But, we could be seeing some decent totals from that. Okay, long-term pattern after that. I'm trying to think what map I want to throw this on. We'll just kind of let this run so you can kind of see how this evolves. But long-term trend, you guys, it continues to look cold. It really does. There is no let-up in this cold air coming out of the north. And there are some signs that this winter, we've talked about this winter being snowier and colder, and it's taken a little bit of time, right? But there are signs that this winter is going to last not just all the rest of January, but perhaps into February and much of February as well. There's some talk around that. There's some signs that show that perhaps we could be locked into a cold pattern across the eastern half of the country. All that being said, it looks like winter is back this year, right? We've had kind of a lax winter that's lasted, 2 to 3 weeks at best, and they've been in chunks the last couple winters. El Nino had something to do with that, but more of it was just big global patterns that we've had across the entire world that have kind of led to that. And that's just kind of what's happened the last couple of years with that Gulf Stream flow. And we've had warm air intrusions and all this stuff. But this looks to be kind of some lasting cold we haven't had for a while, at least for 3 years across Northwest Indiana. So I know a lot of people want the snow and they winter cold, but just be careful what you wish for, because it does look like we may be getting a little sick of this as we get in the latter half of the month. Okay. In terms of snow systems with that as well, of course, those are in play. Of course, we're going to be dealing with snow chances, especially of the lake effect variety over the next week or so. Okay. So that's what I have for you. Hopefully you found that helpful in terms of explanation for this. We'll do another update, obviously, tomorrow on this system. We'll give you another one on Saturday just to keep you updated on kind of what this system's looking like, where that track has gone and all that. And obviously, we have updates on the radio side of things as well, 103.9, 105.5, and Z107.1. Also on Lakeshore Radio on the PBS station that I was once chief meteorologist for in the Maryville area, doing some forecasts for them as well. Okay. All right, so let's see what we've got in terms of your questions. Jenny, you're welcome. I appreciate you being so kind with your words. Tyler asking, yeah, Tyler, I think it's a possibility for sure. I mean, if we get that lake effect band to develop Sunday night into Monday morning, there's going to be some good snow with that wherever it ends up. And I've seen enough storm systems go through the Ohio Valley and the Tennessee valleys that have enough moisture on that backside, enough cold air it's pulling in to produce a heavy lake effect band here in Northwest Indiana. It's happened numerous times. And this is kind of that setup. It's saying, to me, I see that setup in this. So we'll see. Linda, the odds are, that's a great question. What are the odds this moves a little north? Models tend to correct north, but I've already seen that northward correction. If you joined me on Sunday night, we were talking about this system during our weekly Region Weather Live, which we do on Sunday nights. We were talking about it on Sunday, and this system was like missing almost all of Indiana on Sunday, right? And we talked a little bit about the potential for that northward correction. I feel like that's already kind of happened. So we'll see where we go with this. But in terms of the northward shift, I mean, the odds, they're lower that's going to happen. They're also lower that they're going to go south. It should end up right where it's showing up in the models right now. But there are some other things that can come into play. There may be more moisture with this system, and there may be a bigger shield off towards the north of snow. There may be less moisture with this. Maybe more dry air gets in here, and we have less of an area of snow that moves through with us. And maybe there's a sharp cutoff down, just north of Indianapolis. But as of right now, there's pretty high confidence we're going to get anywhere from 6 to 12 downstate in a pretty wide strip. So keep that in mind if you have travel plans. Okay, Chris, this is gonna hit Indy. Yeah, that's funny. This definitely is going to hit the Indy area. This is going to be a good snow for you down in Indianapolis. Hopefully, now, Chris, this doesn't correct north a little bit more and you get into ice down there, because I think any of us would take snow over ice. I mean, ice you just can't do anything about, and you can't stop on it. It's a mess when it gets going. And this system's going to have a lot of ice with it down towards the south. So we'll see. Jennifer, you're welcome. I hope that message is loud and clear. That we are not adding to the hysteria around this. This is a decent winter storm, all right? But locally, I don't think we need to go buy all the milk and bread, all right, which I'm seeing on some web pages and Facebook pages, and it just drives me nuts, and I don't even want to look at them. But they pop up in my feed, and I can't control that. So please don't buy into the hysteria of this, but know that there is going to be some impactful travel around here, especially further south you get Sunday into Monday. So that's that. Ethan asks, will the lake effect snow add up tomorrow in the weekend? Of course, Ethan. Yeah, this is going to be a decent lake effect snow event. Now, not tomorrow. So, Ethan, I'm not talking Northeast Ohio. This is all Northwest Indiana. And there's not going to be a lot of lake effect snow tomorrow. We'll have to keep our eye on LaPorte County. But after this, again, I could see some decent snow, at least for a time, in areas of Lake and Porter counties as we go into the Sunday night and Monday timeframe. So, we'll see what happens from that. That's a good question, Pam. So this is going to start to move in Sunday morning as it looks in terms of timing. So here's your Saturday night. This is Sunday morning right here, getting into like the 11 o'clock hour. And then there you go as we go throughout the afternoon. It'll be worse in the afternoon than the morning. But as this is moving in, the snow is gonna ramp up kind of exponentially as you get down towards Indianapolis, areas downstate, where the system's going to impact the most. It's going to start with some light snow, and then that light snow is just going to continue to crescendo until it's coming down really good. I mean, there really are going to be some, and there's a lot of people traveling Sunday to Monday, and that's why this is such a big deal, because the timing's not great. But this is going to be a very impactful system for those folks. I mean, there's going to be people that are getting stuck on area interstates. And the reason why is because if you have one person that goes off the road and then people are, gridlocked for a while, and that snow's coming down really good, it just adds up. And then all of a sudden plows can't get through and everyone's just sitting on the interstate. So I would avoid I-65 on Sunday. I would say late morning all the way through the evening hours. All right. For us here locally, I think it'll be more manageable. We'll have to be tracking where that lake effect snow goes. Okay. Yeah, so Karen, there you go. I hope that answered the question as well. Rich, great call on that. So he says 76 days till spring. Someone else said 77, so we're gonna have to do the math on that. Either way, it's too far away, and we all know spring doesn't warm up right away, right? Yeah. So Pam, I hope they're safe. If the kids or anyone can leave on Saturday, it'd be a better go, right? It really would be. Saturday looks quiet. We'll have sunshine around here before clouds move in late in the day. So not a whole lot going on in terms of that. Jay asked a good question. Will the snow be a 10-to-1 ratio or light powdery snow? So Jay, it actually, for us here locally, that's a great question. For us here locally, I think it'll have more fluff factor to it, probably on the order of 10-to-1 or so. But then you get down towards Indianapolis, and I mean, we're talking, it could be 15-to-1 or so, where we're going to be dealing with, especially as you get close to that ice line, where that is, this is going to be a heavy to push snow for all the snowplow folks up there. So just keep that in mind, that it's certainly going to be, a little bit heavier as you get closer to where that moisture source is with that low pressure. Okay. So keep that in mind. Ethan's going to Orlando. Ethan, you can't leave this time of year. That's unfair. You're welcome. Yeah, the Snowmageddon thing, Kevin, drives me nuts. And again, I hope a lot of people tune into these that aren't typically, they're bouncing around trying to get forecasts, and I get that. And then there's the vast majority of you that have been with me since day one. And I just hope that people tuning in know that I'm anti-hype. I hate hype around storms. I'm going to tell you how it is. All right. If it's a big deal, I'll tell you that. If it's not, like today's snow, tonight's snow, we'll let you know that as well. But you'll never see neon flashing lights on our headlines. All right. So if you want to forecast for what it is, appreciate you finding us. So there's that. Let's see. Dragica, that's a great call. I really think it is. I hate for people to, I always hate changing people's plans, but I really think it's a good idea. If you're traveling, along the toll road or 94, coming up to the north here, if you're traveling there on Sunday, there's going to be some snow around, but it doesn't look to be too impactful compared to the southern stuff, right? So travel should be manageable around here. It might get, it's going to get tricky depending on where that snow band ends up going, the northern periphery of it. But, down towards Indianapolis, I would change my travel plans if I can change them from Sunday to something else. Okay, Monday's probably still going to be messy down there from cleanup. So Saturday and even tomorrow would be good. All right. I hate to end early holiday vacation. I get it, but best to get home safely. Okay. All right. That is all I'm seeing in terms of question wise. Kevin, I see your Chicago Bears question. Kevin, Bears need to just wipe. They just need to wipe everyone and get everyone out. Keep Caleb Williams and then build around him. So there's that. I can't help that. I can't even help snowstorms. We just try to predict the future. There's that. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. We'll do this again tomorrow just to keep you updated on everything. We'll do it again on Saturday. Okay, so join us for those broadcasts. We'll have some updates in between on the radio side of things. And if you are on our YouTube channel, if you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button, that way you get updates when we go live because the time always varies due to my kids. Okay, so there's that. All right, you guys take it easy, all right? Have a good night. One more day of work this week for those working. If not, enjoy your day off tomorrow, and we'll talk to you tomorrow, okay?